Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Welcome. Y'all hop in. BC, what's going on? What up, Dion? So, today I want to come on and talk to you all about, is the American dream dead? Is the American dream dead? Let me check my mic. All right, my mic levels are good. All right, so I got Instagram, I got Facebook, YouTube. So I have a question, ladies and gentlemen. Is the American dream dead? Is the American dream dead? I'm not sure if y'all seen what's going on. What up, Rico? I actually just read it. I read two articles today outside of everything else that's taking place right now. And the first one was that the numbers came out for March for Las Vegas, and tourism was down 11.9%. Okay, 11.9%. There was a shortage of tourism in Las Vegas by 285,000 people in Las Vegas last month. UPS is doing a layoff this year, and they said it's going to affect over 20,000 people. UPS, the job that everybody was fighting to have last year. It actually went viral on TikTok because they were talking about how much UPS drivers make. And they're about to lay off over 20,000 people. May 5th, ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendars. May 5th. May 5th, the default of student loans will spike to over 10 million people who will be impacted by student loan defaults. To the point to where the government said that they are going to force, let me say that word again, they are going to force wage garnishments. Now, let me share a story with you all, because some people don't believe that it's actually possible. I'm hearing people online say, well, I'll file bankruptcy, I'll go back to school. None of those things solve the problem. One of the reasons why people are actually in financial ruin is because we haven't been focused on the solution. Just like today, I posted, debt consolidation does not fix your credit problems nor your debt problems. Not utilizing a debt consolidation company. And people ask me why. And the reason that is because when you go into a debt consolidation or a repayment plan, essentially you've handcuffed yourself to that debt for at least 5 to 7 years, and your credit will still be ruined. Matter of fact, they tell you to ruin your credit just to potentially qualify for the debt consolidation program. You would actually be better off, and this is not legal advice. You would actually be in a better position if you could qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, because at least you get to dismiss the debt, get it discharged, and within several months, reposition yourself to start rebuilding your credit. Now, people say, well, it's going to impact your credit for 10 years. That is not true. That is not true. You can actually dispute bankruptcies off of your credit report immediately after it has been discharged. And it can be discharged within months versus going into a debt consolidation repayment program where you're handcuffed and held hostage for up to 7 years. See, what I'm seeing right now is that we are in a state of confusion. Americans are in a state of confusion. The American dream isn't dead, bro. People have been conned. I'm not saying it is. I'm simply posing a question. My question is the American dream dead? 10 million people are about to be in student loan default. Do you know what that is about to do to the middle class? 10 million people. 10 million people. This isn't Will Roundtree's numbers. This is per the Department of Education. Now, I'm going to give you some solutions here today. But 10 million people who are going into student loan default, who wages potentially may or may not be garnished, you have no chance of being a homeowner. Not unless you partner with someone. See, the definition of confusion is the lack of understanding, uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and confusion is one of the lowest tones that one could hold. Hope is also a tone that is very low. See, confusion and hope is almost neck and neck, because with hope, you usually have no plan. See, if you're hoping to hit your parlay tonight, that's not a plan. Especially if you took the Lakers. I know they don't play tonight, but a lot of y'all put y'all life savings on the Lakers going out in 5. They going home in 5. They're not winning in 5. They're going home in 5. See, hope and confusion are parallel on the scale of success of where you want to be. They're very low. Hope and confusion. See, one of the things I had to learn, and they're coming for the people who got the PPP loans. I'm telling you, it's about to be retribution for everything that people thought that put them in a position of winning over the past 5 years. I'm telling you. See, the thing that I had to learn is that people love to bond through trauma. Lakers in 9. That sounds about right. Look, my Bucks are no better. Bucks are going home in 5. Okay. See, people bond through trauma. People bond through trauma. This is why negativity spreads. This is people bond through negativity. People bond through trauma. We have to get out of those stages. So what I'm saying is the American dream dead. What I'm saying is not for you to have a sense of hope. My question is that if it is not dead, what is your plan? See, let me tell you how we got here. Okay, let me tell you how we got here. Let me paint a picture. Okay. Now, before I talk about how we got here, I want to go back to what I was talking about earlier. See, in 1997, I went to MATC, Milwaukee Area Technical College. I thought I was going to go to school to be into computer science or computer engineering, whatever was popular back then. Okay. And so my first semester, I went. Second semester, I started to go. And then I'm in my economics class. My teacher told me that this route was not going to make me rich and successful. So I dropped out of college. But during that stint of me being at MATC, Milwaukee Area Technical College, I amassed $5,000 in student loan debt. Okay. $5,000 for that semester and a half. And I just went on about my life. You know, I wasn't financially educated. I borrowed the money myself, like whatever. So I'm going through life. Fast forward, a lot of y'all know I moved to Las Vegas 2005. So I started working my job out here in Las Vegas in 2007. I was at Yellow Pages. And then around 2008, I started getting calls from Sally Mae or whoever was holding the paper of that debt. And I started to ignore them. You know, I would say, when I get it, you'll get it. And coming up with all of these things. And do you know, one day I was at work and I got a subpoena. And that subpoena said that we've been forced to garnish your wages, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so HR brought me in. They said, Will, Sally Mae was able to get a forced garnishment of this $5,000. Here's the amount of money they are going to take out of your paycheck. And so so that money was coming out of my paycheck before my direct deposit hit my bank account. So I never even saw a portion of that money. And they did that until that $5,000 was paid off. And if it had been around tax season, they actually would have took my tax money if I got any money back. I don't remember that far back. And so now, why do I share that? That is what's about to start happening to some of you, ladies and gentlemen. They are going to force wage garnishment on you. They are going to force wage garnishment on you. And the reason that is important to know, you cannot bankrupt student loan debt. You can't. You can't bankrupt student loan debt. It's government debt. Now, I'm going to give you some strategies on how to work around that. Okay, I'm going to give you some strategies because I always come with solutions. But I need you to first understand, how did we get here? Okay, so how did we get here? Now, for most people who accrued student loan debt, I understand that we were sold that education was the wealth, the path to wealth. We were told by our parents and through marketing that education was our path to wealth. That was the marketing campaign. Okay, and so the first thing I need people to understand, when you look at America, America is a corporation. Corporations, the way they make money is through selling stuff. How do they sell stuff? Through marketing. What did they sell and market to us? They sold us the American dream. That was their marketing campaign. The American dream was the marketing campaign, and they said, if you do these things, you will make it. Ladies and gentlemen, when you guys get a chance, I want you to go home and watch a movie on Netflix called 99 Homes. It's a great movie. If you've seen The Big Short, 99 Homes is comparable to that. 99 Homes is a direct reflection of also what took place during the housing market crash. And there were a couple scenes that stood out in that movie, and it's relevant to today. One of the scenes so in 99 Homes, it was about people who borrowed money against their homes to live the American dream. Okay. So they bought the house, which was a part of the American dream. And then they wanted to increase the magnitude of the lifestyle. So they borrowed money. And there was a scene on there where he had to go in and collect, because these were people who could not, who the bank had foreclosed on their property. And I forgot the main character name. And he was telling his guy to go and get them and kick them out and kick the family out the house. And he didn't have the heart to do so, because he had sympathy, because he had also went through that process. Man, I really appreciate you. I have more access now than I ever have. You can't play the game if you don't understand the game. Appreciate that, Dion. Okay. So he didn't want to go to the house, and he said, man, tighten up. This family went 25 years without an enclosed patio on their house, and then they borrow $100,000 to put an enclosed patio on their house, and it's their fault they can't afford to pay that back. And that scene was so powerful, because that reminds me of where we are today. That reminds me of where we are today. So let me paint a picture for you, okay? So many people went and borrowed money, okay? Now, Let's just say your income is $100,000. Okay. Let's just say your income is 50 to 100,000. Okay. Now, if if your income is a 50 to $100,000 and 70% of your expenses is tied to that income. Well, let's make it more real life. If 90% of your income is tied up to bills, okay, 90%, and then you go and borrow $100,000. And so now your expenses make up 110%, but your income didn't increase. Let me say that again because some of you may have to write that down. Let's say your income is $100,000 and 90% of your income is tied to that $100,000. And then you go and borrow money against your home to put that swimming pool in. You go and borrow money from a line of credit so that you can go and start that business with no business experience, or you started that trucking company, or you just blew it, because that's what a lot of people actually did, especially in the movie 99 Homes. And so now your expenses are at 110%, but your income never changed. So my question to you is how is that income supposed to, how are the new expenses supposed to get paid? And let me tell you what most people do. They try to pay the new level of expenses out of their savings account. So this is why people and how they deplete their 401k, how they deplete their savings, how they end up depleting every discretionary dollar that they have because their expenses increased, but their income didn't increase. And this is how people got in trouble economically. Your expenses went to 110%, but your income never increased. This is most people's fundamental problem right here. This is 99.99999% of people's problem fundamentally. So it's not that the debt is bad. It's not that credit is bad. It is that you didn't understand that credit, for every dollar that you borrow, you have to go and make 1.5 on that dollar. Because see, as long as you are attempting to play the wealth game, you will always be in debt, good or bad. Even for those who went to college, you were attempting to play the wealth game. That's why you went to school to be the pharmacist tech. That's why you went to school to be a pediatrician. That's why you went to school to be a civil engineer. That's why you went to school to be whatever it is you thought you wanted to be. 60% of you not even working in the field where you got the education at. So you leveraged money playing the wealth game because that was the marketing campaign, that the way to wealth is through education, but you miscalculated it because you didn't even know how much or the income potential. You couldn't control it. And so going back to the movie 99 Homes, people lost their homes not because not because everybody signed a bad deal. It was because people borrowed money to live the American dream. Swimming pools, cars, Disney, Atlanta, Houston, Miami, Las Vegas. People borrowed money to live, but they didn't increase their income opportunities. Credit is not evil. You've just been using it wrong. And so it's like, now what do you do? So what I've been telling people, because I've been getting the calls, people are nervous. They're in a state of confusion. What I've been telling people is that you now have to put together a plan of getting back to financial stability. See, I've never come on this internet in the past X amount of years and telling you that if you do this, you're set for life. I've been showing people a strategy of stability. The strategy of stability. Because home ownership is about to be a luxury. Most of you will not be able to own a home going into 2026 if you do not stabilize economically. And the number one way that people get over leveraged is through emotional spending. I deserve that car. I deserve that trip. I deserve those shoes. I deserve that purse. I deserve that cruise. I deserve going to the concert. I deserve to go see Kendrick and SZA. I deserve to go see emotional spending is why so many people are over leveraged. See, you can't discharge the student loan debt. You can't discharge it. Let me give you a strategy, though. Let me give you a strategy. Okay. I don't have long to be on here today. Let me give you a strategy. See, this is why credit is so important and why credit is so powerful. Okay. See, in the movie 99 Homes, and I forgot the exact quote, and I'm gonna go back and watch it because I'm going to memorize this quote. Here is the greatest trick. Here is the greatest trick. The greatest trick in North America is convincing Americans that the system is here to help them. The system is set up and rigged for you to lose. Why? Because they need to keep you as a consumer. The system is set up for you to lose because they need to keep you as a consumer. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. 99.9999999% of the things that you know, that you've learned about money, that you've learned about credit, that you've learned about, all of that is completely wrong and it's outdated. If you do not understand that your only way of leveraging yourself out of financial poverty and financial trauma, all you got to do is understand 1 + 1 is that you have to understand how to leverage the system. And the only way to leverage that system, or one of the only ways, is by understanding how to manage debt. And it blows me away, people who say they do not like debt, but I'm seeing the dollar amounts of student loans that people have. I just saw a couple who combined who have $580,000 of student loan debt. $580,000. Please tell me that y'all went to school to learn how to create another world. Because for 500, hopefully y'all went to school to learn how to create and replicate another earth. Because for 580 something thousand dollars, for something that now you probably can Google and YouTube to learn how to do, you know the sorcery and trickery that you have to be under the spell of to say that run it up. I'm going to learn everything. That was one of the greatest tricks. Boy, I'm actually glad I dropped out of college. I'm actually glad. Let me give y'all a strategy. Okay. So you cannot dispute that's about 6 homes in Milwaukee. No, Rico, that's a neighborhood. Especially when we was buying them. Remember, I was getting homes in Milwaukee for 25,000 all in. Okay. So let me give y'all a strategy. All right. So this is why credit is important, ladies and gentlemen. So imagine this. Just follow me. This not for all of y'all, because I know some of y'all want to stay in confusion, and that's okay. That's okay. The world needs people confused. Okay. That's how you create division, by keeping people confused. Okay, so follow me. Imagine you have great credit. All right. And for y'all who know me, y'all know I have to doodle. I got to write. It helps me stay on track. All right. So they say the average person has $37,000 to $50,000 of student loan debt. Okay. The average person, write this down. Y'all probably should start writing things down that I've been saying. Okay. My message has not changed in forever. They had to meet each other because no one else is taking on a spouse with 250,000. Look, let me keep this to I'm gonna keep this one to myself. If y'all want to meet me on Patreon to get Will After Dark, okay, I'll give y'all my real thoughts, okay. And so the average student loan debt is $37,000 to $50,000, ladies and gentlemen. The average student loan debt is $37,000 to $50,000. All right, now you cannot bankrupt student loan debt. You cannot bankrupt government debt. It is one of the few debts that you can't bankrupt. It's no coincidence that you can get it at 18 with just fog in the mirror. Okay, so now for those who understood the assignment that I've been teaching for the past 15 years, imagine this. You get a business credit card at 0% interest, or you stack. Okay, my clients is getting 120,000 and better at 0%. So let's just say you get 50,000 plus in business credit at 0%. Okay, 50,000 plus at 0% interest in business credit cards. Okay, so this is the short-term strategy. But here's the thing. You have now satisfied your debt with the government. See, here's the thing. Remember, I need you to unlearn everything that you've learned about money up until today, because what you know now is the reason you stay stuck in a state of financial confusion. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of my highly educated individuals stay the brokest because they focus on everything that they know as opposed to what they don't know. Okay, so follow me. So we're going to take that $50,000 of government debt, move it over to 0% interest business credit. Now you are paying that money back short term at 0% interest. Remember, you're going to always be in debt when you play the wealth game. And you going to school was a part of your wealth strategy. So I don't need you twisting up your lips and getting mad and doing the hokey pokey talking about, I hate debt. You've been in debt all your life anyway. You just didn't know how to make money from debt. Okay. So now you're going to take that 50,000 of that student loan government debt, move it to the business side. Now your personal credit cannot be impacted. You've now protected your personal credit, which puts you in position to go out there and learn how to actually play the game of wealth, or as Dion said, to learn how to play Monopoly in real life. See, that's the problem with so many people, is that you all didn't realize that Monopoly was that real game, but you thought it was just a game. Okay, so you're going to move the government debt over to business credit at 0% interest. So now at least your personal credit is protected. Now, I'm not giving any financial advice or any legal advice, but let's just say things hit the fan, okay? Because life can happen. At least now, the business credit can be defaulted through bankruptcy. See, you're going to always have debt, ladies and gentlemen. There's no such thing as debt free, not when you're trying to play the wealth game. Remember, you went to school. That's the debt game. That's the, you've made this investment in this thing called information with the hopes of moving up in the corporate ladder and living the American dream. You have to now learn how to position yourself to get your debt cheaper as you get older. And see, the reason that so many people have a hard time growing in life financially is because they do not know how to position themselves to make their debt cheaper. You're going to always be in debt, but you have to learn how to squeeze and shrink the cost of your debt. Everybody type in the chat the cost of your debt. You have to learn how to make your debt cheaper. Because here's what happens. What just happened for 10 million people is that they are no longer qualified for the income deferment payment with their student loans. And now some of you who were able to pay $300 a month based off of your income for your student loans, now those student loan payments are going to $2,000. Now, imagine if you were in position to move that debt over to make it cheaper, and then that same $150,000 of student loan debt is only going to cost you $500. But nobody taught you that game. Nobody taught you that game. Let me give you one more strategy. Because I got to wrap up. Let me give you one more strategy. Okay. So now, going back to the movie 99 Homes, here's something that it taught me watching the movie, even from The Big Short, and even just of my own financial analysis of where I am today financially, is that real estate always wins, ladies and gentlemen. Real estate always wins. See, the middle class is now being pushed to the poor upper class, the upper poor class. Middle class is being pushed to the upper poor class. Why? Because the one strategy that most middle Americans are able to leverage to position themselves economically long term is through ownership of real estate. It is the one commodity that stabilizes the economy. This is why banks exist. And so now, shout out to everybody who's been following my lead and not just following me. That'll go over some of y'all heads. Shout out to people who's been actually following my lead and not just following me. Let me give you an example. So let's say you've been following my lead for the past X amount of years, and you've built a real estate portfolio with just 2 investment properties. Okay? You have 2 investment properties. All right? I want you guys to write this down, because some of you need to see a visual smack you right in the face for it to make sense and sense. Okay? Just like they try to make you scared to buy in the hood. Yeah, Dion. And so they went and bought the house that they can't afford, that me and you are about to buy pennies on the dollar. I'm telling y'all, most of the things that the Grant Cardones and all of they've scared y'all into parking y'all money with them and then telling you to rent from. Let me move on. I'm on a time crunch. So let's just say you bought 2 investment properties, and with that investment portfolio, you have amassed $100,000 of equity. Everybody write down $100,000 in equity. Okay? $100,000 in equity. with just 2 properties, which is very doable. Very doable. Okay. So now, understanding that when you are playing the wealth game, you are always going to have debt, just like your student loan debt. 10 million, I can't even say it, over 10 million of people, Americans, have attempted to play the wealth game, and it came back to bite them because they were taught to play the wrong game. Okay. So you have $100,000 of equity. Let me write that down too. I'm going to play this game with you all. So I'll have 100,000 in equity from just 2 homes. Okay. Amaya, what's going on? So you have 100,000 in equity. So now let's say you have 100,000 in student loan debt. Okay. So you have 100,000 in student loan debt. Now that student loan debt, the interest is compounding daily. They didn't tell you about that when you were a kid. It's compounding daily. So now they've gotten rid of the income-driven repayment plan. So now May 5th, they're telling you that you're going to have to pay $1,500 a month on your student loan debt. $1,500 a month. So now remember, your income didn't increase. And so now you have to pay $1,500 a month towards your student loan debt. So now let me give you all a strategy. Because remember, you can't discharge this now. You can't discharge this. So this is what you're going to do. All right. This is the last one. So you are going to take that equity from your real estate, and you are going to liquidate that equity and pay off your student loan debt. Okay, you're going to take that equity because remember, you're playing the wealth game, so you're always going to have debt, just like that student loan debt. So you're going to liquidate the equity from your investment properties. Remember, that's your piggy bank. And you're going to pay off the student loan debt. So now you are no longer in debt to the government. You are no longer in debt to the government. Now that debt is tied to an asset. The debt is now tied to the asset. Remember, you liquidated the equity. Now, when you understand how to get cheaper money, because you move that debt over to a commercial real estate loan that is collateralized by the property at let's say a 9% interest rate, that $100,000 is now only going to cost you about $680 a month. So now, look, I get excited when I hear these strategies. I don't know about y'all, okay? Or y'all can stay in a state of confusion, okay? So now, you're going to liquidate the equity from the investment properties. You're going to take that equity, pay off the student loan debt. You no longer owe the government, which means they can no longer come and garnish your wages. It won't impact your credit, et cetera, et cetera. The money is collateralized by the 2 investment properties that you invested in back in 2022 with me, because you actually listened. You didn't go and buy an Amazon store. You didn't go and start trucking. You didn't go and, let me keep going. No, you didn't sell your home. You borrowed against it. You did not sell the home. No, we don't sell the real estate. You borrowed against it, tax-free. And so now you went from $1,500 a month to $680 a month. And ladies and gentlemen, who is now paying the $680 a month? Because remember, your income didn't increase. Who is now paying the $680 a month that you just used to pay off your $100,000 of student loan debt? Remember, you borrowed from the investment property. The $100,000 you paid off the government. Instead of $1,500 a month, your new payment is $680. that you borrowed tax free from the property. Who is now paying that $680 a month? I'll give you a second to catch up. The renters. The renters. So now, because you learned how to play the game the right way, you actually invested in information that helps you to move the wealth needle. You didn't go back to school. Because here's what I'm hearing. Oh, well, I'll just bankrupt the student loan debt. You can't. Well, I'll just go back to school. All you're doing is keeping the storm above your head. It's going to eventually catch you. See, this is why so many people are in bad positions financially, because they keep running away from the storm. The storm is going to keep trailing behind you. Going back to school to get another useless degree doesn't help you. Okay, you get to not pay the student loan debt back. And then guess what? The next administration come along and then they going to say, we're going to put you in jail for not paying. It only gets worse, ladies and gentlemen. It only gets worse. But let me get back to my plan. Okay. Maybe I need to turn off TikTok, because when I hear people say, oh, I'll just go back to school. Okay. This is why we own real estate, ladies and gentlemen. You borrow against the equity of the investment property. You pay off the student loan debt. So now you no longer owe the government. They can't garnish your wages. Your personal credit can't be impacted. You've collateralized the investment property where you have tenants inside who is paying the $100,000 at $680 a month. And let's just say for grins and giggles, things hit the fan and you lose the property. Guess what you can do? You can sell the property, pay the debt off, or you could bankrupt it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to always be in debt. It's just a matter of what type of debt you choose to be in. Most of you have played this debt game completely wrong because you've been sold a false narrative. Let me give you a couple things that you're going to need to do. One, cut emotional spending. You don't need them shoes. If your rent payments can't buy your red bottoms, you don't need red bottoms. If your rent payments can't buy the new Jordans or the PS5 or the iPhone 17, you don't need any of that. My 13 still works fine. Camera might be a little hazy sometime, but I don't like taking pictures anyway. All right, number 2, leverage credit the smart way. People keep saying, oh, I'm going to buy, oh, I'm scared of credit. You've been using credit all your life anyway. It's just that your credit puts you in a bad position. Credit isn't evil. You just don't know what you're doing. Get out of credit confusion. When you bankrupted, is it always personal bankruptcy or can an LLC? Great question, Brian. You're still going to be, the debt is personally recourse, but here's my question. That's the wrong question to be asking. And the reason I say that is because this is why you have to position yourself to know what you're doing to try to mitigate your risk. And again, I'm merely talking from a strategy with student loan debt, and I'm not encouraging bankruptcy. I'm only saying that if you are trying to get from up under student loan debt that is going to ruin your credit by June, it is going to garnish your wages. Here's a strategy that one could be leveraging. You have to get the money cheaper. All right. Number 3, know your numbers, not just your income. Most of you don't even really know how much you make and what your real expenses are. But you continue to go out there and borrow money to go on trips, to buy timeshares, to go to dinner, to go to happy hour, to go to Disney, to go to Atlanta, to go to whatever it is you do, to pay for parlays, to rent car. Most of you all are doing that, but your income isn't increasing. I only leverage money to make money, period. If I'm borrowing money, it's because I'm about to go and buy something that's going to make me some more money that will at least service the debt. Number 4, create small income streams. This is why I love real estate. It creates income streams that will work in spite of me. See, y'all keep going out here trying to start businesses and know nothing about business. If you want to start a restaurant, sell plates from your house first. See how many people don't get sick from them uncooked ribs and chicken that you're not cooking all the way through first. See how many people don't get sick. You may find out you don't want a restaurant. Sell plates first. Get a food truck. Go partner with somebody. Like, people want to go in business just to say they have a business. Go buy real estate. I would much rather buy real estate to know that it will pay me in spite of me. That business you got, you have to get up every day. It blows my mind when people say, oh, I want to start a business so I don't have to work. Or I can get time freedom. Owning a business does not give you time freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Matter of fact, you get no freedom. You're a slave to that business. Because now your husband is looking at you. Now your wife is looking at you. Now your kids looking at you. Saying, you put our family in jeopardy to do this? Now you out here putting in parlays because the chicken wings ain't hitting. Trust me, the Lakers still going home in 5. So that parlay ain't going to hit. All right? I know you bet all your money on Luka saving the Lakers. All right. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5, invest in financial education. Look, I just gave y'all this for free. Imagine what you actually get when you actually want to really learn from me. Yeah. People keep saying, Will, when you doing another event? I'm not doing anymore. I'm only doing private masterminds. You don't come to my mastermind, I'm not doing any more events. Look, I enjoy my peace and my free time and the games y'all betting on. I actually enjoy being at those games with no pressure because I don't care who wins or loses. I'm there merely for entertainment. Next, protect your credit. You got to protect your credit. That's why I gave you all the strategy on how to move the debt over. Protect the credit. And then lastly, go freelance. Go clean some garages out. Go hang some pictures. Look, let me show y'all how y'all can make some money today. Okay? Let me tell y'all how you're gonna make some money today. This one's for free, y'all. This one's for free. All right. Go in your local city and call every single property management company and ask them how many of them have apartment turnovers where they need clean out or moving services. And then you don't go buy a truck. You go rent a U-Haul for $19. Now, it won't be $19. It may come out to, let's say, $100. Okay? But you're making $500 a job. There is not a shortage of making money. You just don't want to work. You have the scratch-off lottery mentality. I've yet to meet anybody that's made life-changing money playing the lottery, playing sports betting. Very few people. I don't meet a lot of people who are in that position. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I have my link. You can join my online academy. You can or you don't have to. It really doesn't matter to me. You help my bros, KJ and Crown. Bobby Deuce, what's going on? Yeah, they're my brothers. All right. So y'all see, I have a link in my bio. You can join my online community. Like I say, it really doesn't matter if you do or you don't, because here's the reality. No matter what it is that you choose to do or don't do, you will still be in the same position you're in today. Nothing will change for you. I'm telling you. I don't care how many motivational concerts you go to. I don't care who money convention you go to. None of that will help you if you don't have execution strategies. And for most of these conferences, they keep you in a loop. And what is the loop? They motivate you. Y'all haven't figured out that hustle? That motivation is the hustle? I just told y'all at the beginning of this live. Hope in confusion is neck and neck when it comes to being at the bottom of the totem pole of the success scale. Hope doesn't get you anywhere. I know a lot of people who hope to win the lottery. I know a lot of people who hope to win their sports betting ticket. I know a lot of people who hope they meet somebody, a magical pixie dust investor, and who's going to sprinkle some investment money into their dreams. That's not how life works. Selling and motivating speeches at those conferences. That's all they do. All of them. I just gave y'all a real strategy, and most people will scroll past this video and walk into one of them conventions and spend tens of thousands of dollars for somebody to say, "Look at my watch." That one was personal. So click the link in my bio. You can join my community online. It's free for the first 7 days, but at least you'll be able to go and pull all the data you want out of there for at least 7 days. But I'm gonna tell you, it's definitely worth being in. If you have not learned how to position yourself to own investment properties, you're doing yourself a disservice, because I'm telling you, the poor upper class will be a real thing by summer of 2025. It's about to be a cold summer for a lot of people unless you have the right strategies put in place. So my team is actually still in the office. It's only 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're looking to position yourself to learn how to stabilize your economics, I'm telling you. Because here, let me leave y'all with this. Y'all do realize that other ethnic communities who are not westernized are not complaining about the economy. You don't hear the Indians or the Arabs or the Chinese or the Hispanics who are not westernized. You don't hear them complaining about economics or the economy or Trump. You don't hear them complaining about that. Why? Because they understand group economics. They understand ownership. Somebody said, is it too late? For some of y'all, yes. The reason it's too late, because you've put yourself far out there that you don't want to make the change. You'd rather drown in, not even in silence, because you complaining to everybody. You complaining, you've borrowed money from everybody. If you're going to borrow money, at least borrow money to learn how to get them to get them their money back. But no, you want to borrow money for fun. You want to borrow money for entertainment. You want to borrow money to do the things to distract you from the realities of your life. And that's why I always say, you want to know where somebody is at in their life if they live in reality? Find out. The way to find that out is by people who live in hypotheticals. Would you rather have $1 billion or would you rather have good credit? You have neither one. Would you rather have 100 men fight against a gorilla? Like, you got 100 bills. Like, people who live in hypotheticals, you can always tell where they are in their life because they don't live in reality. The reality is that you effed up financially. The reality is that you gonna have your wages garnished. The reality is that you're 57. You have zero savings. Your wife don't like you. Your husband mad at you. The kids think you're failures because you want to be in front of the TV and you got a high Madden and NBA rating. So yeah, for some people, it is too late unless they are willing to make the changes and make the investments and putting themselves in a better circumstance. And sometimes that investment is going to pay that credit card off, putting yourself in position. It's not always about paying somebody. Sometimes you just need to learn how to pay yourself first, but you don't know how to pay yourself first because you don't even know what your number is. and that is your income and your expenses, the two fundamental things in life. But yet they told you, they've sold you on manifestation. Well, manifest a new mind and learn how to think differently, because right now the brain you have is not functioning properly. So we got to do better. So y'all see the link in the bio. I'm hosting a webinar that's coming up Thursday. I'm going to show people how to get out of financial ruin by being able to sell money. Because here's the reality. As long as you sell money, you will always make money. You don't have to go and start a trucking company because it will fail statistically. Just learn how to sell money. You'll always make money. There's 5 million businesses that opened in 2024. All of them need money. Can you explain pay yourself first? Well, people have to know what their expenses are before they can pay themselves. You should always pay yourself first, but we don't even have strategy. Most people don't even file their taxes properly. Do you have any ideal or strategy how to get out of debt? Yeah, I just gave y'all some. Go get some more income. Go rent a U-Haul truck. Call every property management company. Go knock on doors, clean out garages, go do all of that stuff. Go increase your income. There is no other magical pill. Is tomorrow the credit coaching call for your academy? I believe it is. I think so. I believe so. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay tuned in. Y'all stay locked in. Stay encouraged. Stay motivated. But I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be a cold summer. So hopefully, we got our quilts and are ready to run through the storm with some real strategy to position yourself so you can come out on the other side. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all at the top. Peace.